Okay, good morning everyone. So with respect to our last class, we had come across with what do you mean by signal, what do you mean by signal action, what are the prototypes for signal, sig action, then what do you mean by sig mask. Okay, then we had come across with this sig set of functions, and we had come across with this relationship between sig CHLD as an signal and the wait PID as an API. Okay, so we followed out with that with your prior classes. Okay, that's when I was telling regarding your process. We had come across with these set jump and long jump as an API there. Okay, or else we had come across with these two terminologies. Okay, so in the same way as I had specified there, set jump happens to be set jump and long jumps are nothing but you are getting to know the outcomes of individual user defined functions, whatever you are declaring or else whatever you are defining in your respective program there. Okay, long jump happens to be one, whereas set jump happens to be, you can have multiple of them. Okay, so set jump happens to be one and long jump happens to be multiple. Okay, so here you can just come across the same way. I have in signals we have a prefix with set jump called out as sig, and with long jump we have a prefix called out as sig there. Okay, so to enclose or else to make these two APIs happen, so we are coming across with this particular header file called out as set jump .h as a header file. So here we come across with two of the APIs. One is sig set jump and one more is sig long jump there. Okay, sig set jump says it takes out two of the arguments there. One is one is env as an variable which is of a type called out as sigsum underscore buff, and one more is save mask which is of a data type which we call it across as integer there. Okay, so in the same way we have for a long jump. So long jump also has env. Okay, but instead here we are having val there. Okay, val is the one which signifies you where all this has been declared there. Okay, so you can, for definitive purpose, you can come across to know here sig set jump and sig long jump are created to support signal mask processing there. Specifically it is implementation dependent there. Okay, on whether a process signal mask is saved and restored. Okay, and when it invokes the set jump and long jump APIs respectively. Okay, the only difference between these functions is that sig set jump has an additional argument if save mask is a non-zero. Okay, mind it, if at all save mask is a non-zero, then sig set jump also saves the current signal mask of the process in env. Okay, whereas when sig long jump is called, if the env argument was saved by the call to the sig set jump with a non-zero save mask, then sig long jump restores the saved signal mask there. Okay, so ultimately this is an additional extended help which has been provided for your signal masking there. Okay, to provide that particular help we are storing the respective saved mask there. Okay, saved mask argument is saved mask signals are being saved if at all your save mask is a non-zero value. Okay, then your sig set jump saves the current signal mask of the process in env as an argument there. Okay, so sig long jump API is usually called from user defined signal handling functions there. Okay, as I had specified priorly also. This is because a process signal mask is modified when a signal handler is called. Okay, and the sig long jump should be called to ensure the process signal mask is restored properly when jumping out from the signal handling function there. Okay, so how many user defined function it will be called. Okay, so at that time the val differs there. Okay, val changes to val is equals to 1 if at all it is called in the first user defined function, then the second one, then the third one, like this. Okay, so along with that, let us come across to know regarding this kill as an API there. Okay, so what is this kill as an API? Kill as an API helps you to terminate or else abort a particular process. Okay, so abort a particular process from happening. Okay, so you are aborting it. Aborting it is nothing but before the process has completed appropriately. Okay, so you are killing that particular process. So there are multiple causes for killing that particular process. It might be like, for example, the process has not at all reported back to the parent specifying its respective status or something. You want to kill it explicitly. So how you can do that? So you can kill a particular process by using this kill as an API. It takes it takes two arguments there. One is PID and the second one is signal. Through what signal invoking you want to you want to terminate that particular process there. Okay, you have to specify that. So it requires this header file called as signal.h. Okay, so it's a simple means of inter-process communication or control there. So you can just come across with the prototype here. It takes first argument is PID. So which process ID are you going to kill, and signal number, through what signal you want to kill that particular process there. Okay, so it returns 0 on success, -1 on failure there. Okay, the signal number argument is a integer value of the signal to be sent to one or more processes designated by the PID. The possible values of PID and its use by the kill API are, okay, if at all PID is greater than 0, so that is if you are specifying 101 or something, so only that particular process will be killed there. Okay, the signal killed is nothing but the signal will be sent to that particular process there. If the PID is equals to 0, okay, if you are specifying here called out as 0, so at that time what happens is the signal is sent to all the processes whose process group ID equals the process group ID of the sender, and for which the sender has permission to send the signal. Okay, process group ID is nothing but, as I said you, so if at all I have a process called out as P1, P2, P3, P4, okay, so I make a group and I say that this is my process group 1. Okay, so the signal will be sent to all of them. Okay, if my PID is equals to 0. If my PID is equals to less than 0, what happens? The signal is sent to all the processes whose process group ID equals the absolute value of PID. We have come across with absolute PIDs, relative PIDs. Okay, so it will be sent, the process ID equals the absolute value of PID, and for which the sender has a permission to send the signals there. Okay, and the last one is if at all your PID is equals to 1. Okay, so what happens there? If your PID is equals to 1, what happens is the signal is sent to all the processes on the system for which the sender has permission to send the signal there. Okay, it will be sent to all the processes on the system, not only referring with the process group ID or else that particular PID or something like that. Okay, that's the one. Then let us come across with alarm as an API. So what's this alarm as an API? It is the one when you complete a particular ticks of seconds there. So there is an SIG ALRM as an API, SIG ALRM as a signal which will be generated. So through what that particular SIG ALRM will be generated there. So that will be generated through this particular API running there. So how does this API runs? It takes out with a header file called out as signal.h. Okay, it has the API called out as alarm, and it takes only one argument, and that's called out as time interval. So to what number of time intervals we will be giving here. So after that particular time, it will be the SIG ALRM will be generated there. Okay, it returns 0 or number of seconds until previously set alarm there. Then we have one more terminology called as interval timers. What are these? The interval timers can be used to schedule a process to do some tasks at a fixed time interval, to time the execution of some operations, or to limit the time allowed for the execution of some tasks there. Okay, so this is all with respect to your signals there. Okay, then we have a very small section that's called out as daemon processes. Okay, I'll tell you in the next video for the same. Thank you.